the LA Times for their commitment to the sport. And they're actually going to be debuting today as well, Pound for Pound, their claimed video series. So thank you, Lance, for all your work. And these fighters here certainly deserve it, because they are some of the best fighters in the sport, irrespective of division. They're exciting, they're charismatic, and they're going to show us all on Saturday night why we all love boxing so much. We know, of course, about the rematch, the WBC and WBA World Championship between Leo Santa Cruz and Abner Mares. But in typical Showtime fashion, they deliver two main events on one card. And I want to thank my friend Steven Espinosa for the commitment. There's really nobody else who does that. I think it's clear that each one of those fights could easily have been a main event in its own. And I want to thank the fighters to be okay with putting together an event like this, which ultimately really elevates the sport of boxing. Tickets are $50. They're available here, so it's very reasonably priced. It's a great card as well, top to bottom. There are going to be 11 fights. There's a strong Southern California flavor to the card. We will see many young and emerging Southern California fighters. Of course, one of them, which is one of the most talked about fighters here in Southern California period, is Carlos Valderas, the 2016 Olympian, who will be entering the ring right before the two main events are going to take center stage. I'd like to thank PBC, Premier Boxing Champions, Al Heyman. I'd like to acknowledge the Watsons. You know it's not a big fight if the Watsons are not here, but they are here, so we know it's a big fight. I'd like to acknowledge them, Sylvia and Brad as well, and Corona for their support, and the California State Athletic Commission, Andy Foster. And then, of course, I'd like to acknowledge Tom Brown from TGB, our co-promoter, who is not here, but his daughter Brittany is, so I'd like to acknowledge her. It's a pleasure to put these great events here together. Lee Simon, the president of venues and president of the Staples Center from AEG, was supposed to be here, but I was just told he is at a conference. As I mentioned, it's the busiest venue in the world and has a great tradition to really host the biggest of the biggest fights. I remember the very first fight at Staples Center was a fight I was fortunate to be involved in, and that was 18 years ago. 18 years ago, and that fight was, by the way, for those probably you guys know which one it was De La Hoya against Mosley. Great fight, and from there on, pretty much Staples Center fights, Staples Center events really elevate the sport. I'd like to ask now Jose Suleiman, Mauricio's brother, to quickly come up and present the diamond belt, which will be on the line as well. Mauricio, by the way, is going to be here later. He is at a California State Athletic Commission dehydration seminar, which obviously is very important for the sport. Jose?
Good afternoon to everybody. It is our great honor, WBC, to be part of this historic event, the boxing event, two WBC world title fights on the line this night. It is very gratifying to see such a dear friend, Richard Schaefer, and his Ringstar promotion active in this great sport. Richard is one of the very, very solid foundations for the success of boxing. So the WBC wishes him the best of luck. We have Jermell Charlo, our proud super welterweight champion, taking on the former WBC champion, Trout, in a very, very interesting match. So, and also Leo Santa Cruz and Abner Mares are prepared for this rematch and this WBC diamond belt. It has been prepared for this fight. It's the classical terrific fight. You know, there's blood on the line inside and outside of the ring. So it's going to be a terrific rematch, and we are very much looking forward to it. And I also would like to present a WBC initiative, which is to present the trainer with a special award. Let me put this down a little bit. Thank you very much. It's a belt. It's in the form of a towel, because the trainer is an integral part of the preparation and the making of the champion. And this is something that has been deserved for many years. And now the WBC is also presenting the trainer of each of the title bouts with one of these belts. So the WBC wishes to have, and we're going to have a great fight, and we wish to maybe the best boxer win, and that this is going to be a great night for boxing. Thank you very much.
First and foremost, he's a fan. And when you're going to watch over ringside, the first row there, centered, you see a guy with a little notepad and a pen scoring every round. Oh, that's a fan. But we as fight fans are the beneficiary of the fact that he's a fan, because he's as well the man who controls the biggest budget in the sport of boxing. He's a man who week after week delivers the best, fighting the best, who is committed to the sport, and that of course is the president of Showtime Sports, Steven Espinosa.
Thank you, Richard. These four guys up here, Leo, Abner, Jermell, and Austin, have been on Showtime a combined 41 times. That's a lot, and it doesn't happen by accident. And the reason it's happened is because these four fighters really embody everything that we want Showtime Boxing to be about. You look at the resumes, together they're some of the strongest resumes in the sport. None of these guys, not Leo, not Abner, not Jermell, not Austin, have ever shied away from taking a tough fight. They fight the best. They don't hassle with negotiations. They don't come up with excuses not to take fights. They want the best fights, the biggest fights, and that's why we're proud to have all four of them on Showtime. In our main event, Richard mentioned in the introduction De La Hoya versus Mosley as the first event here. I think there's a similarity here. At the time that fight happened, Oscar and Shane were really the two faces of boxing in Southern California. And I think right now we have another fight where the main event features two of the biggest stars and the faces of Southern California boxing. So it's fitting that we're back here at Staples 18 years later. Featherweight division is something we've been focusing on for a while. You've seen the top 5 featherweights in the world already on Showtime this year. This is a fight, a rematch, of course, between two of the top 5 in the world. In their first fight, they threw a combined 2,000 punches. That hasn't been duplicated since, to my knowledge. And I would bet, if I were a betting man, that it'll happen again on Saturday night. With our co-feature, which again, really our second main event, Jermell and Austin. Austin has been in there with the biggest and the best stars in the sport of boxing, from Cotto to Lara to Jermell, to Jermall, to Hurd, to Canelo. But Jermell's got quite a bit of momentum. He's on a KO streak, 4 consecutive stoppages, and that is very rare and very impressive at a championship level. So we've got 2 great fights at Showtime from Staples. Just a reminder, in the afternoon, we've also added a fight on our streaming platforms, the return of Tyson Fury, as well as the Flanagan Hooker Jr. welterweight title fight. Those will be streaming starting at 1:30 p.m. Pacific. Thanks.
Thank you, Steve. Before I'm going to be introducing now the fighters and the trainers to you, I'd like to just say something about something else and introduce quickly, mention somebody else who is in attendance here, who in my books is, and in the books I think of most who understand anything about boxing, today the the best middleweight in the world. The best middleweight in the world, a fighter who would fight and will fight everyone, and who will beat everyone, probably knock out everyone, and that is Jermell Charlo. Jermell. Talking about the co-main event and talking about Charlo, to see his brother Jermell here on Saturday night in action against one of the big names in the sport, Austin Trout, is another treat for the fight fans here in Southern California and all of them watching at home on Showtime. First, I'd like to introduce to you Austin No Doubt Trout. Now, you know, his name says it all. And I think you guys should listen. It says no doubt. So what you guys shouldn't do is, you should not doubt him. And those who doubt him, they do so on their own risk. For those of you who don't believe me, I suggest you call Miguel Cotto. He doubted him too. See what happened. To overlook a fighter of the talent and the skills and the resume, having been there on top of the mountain, being a world champion before, is a risky thing. And it's a pleasure now for me to introduce to you somebody who I know will be ready on Saturday night, and that is Austin No Doubt Trout.
Thank you, Richard. First, I want to give all praises to Yahuwah, Elohim, in the name of Yahushua Mashiach. I want to thank Al Heyman. I want to thank my team, Shakrisha Baz, Boogie Harris, Barry Hunter, Louis Bird. I want to thank my family for coming out. You know, I'm very excited for being here. And then I know I've said it before, but I want to thank Al Heyman again for presenting these once-in-a-lifetime opportunities 2, 3, 4 times. I don't believe in mistakes or accidents. I believe it's destiny. And after this fight, I feel like they're gonna call me Daniel. So I'm going into the Lions Den, I'm coming out unscathed. And I can't wait to be the new world champion. And I got much else to say, but tune in Saturday. If everybody's sleeping on me, you'll wake up. It's a grand awakening. Thank you.
The Chick Hearn Media Room, Staples Center, is really a place which is reserved for the absolute best athletes in the world. Before I'm going to introduce to you Jermell Charlo, I'd like to introduce to you and acknowledge his trainer, Derek James, one of the best trainers in the world. He, what I think, trains 2 of the best pound-for-pound champions in the world with Errol Spence and with Jermell Charlo. So it's a pleasure to have you up here, Derek. Now, look around. There is pictures of Kobe. There is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. There is Wayne Gretzky. There is Magic Johnson. All names which have really transformed the Los Angeles sports scene and have elevated sports here in Los Angeles. These are athletes. These names I just mentioned are athletes who transcend the sport of their respective sports. These are names which are really larger than life, and you can see their statues right here in front of Staples Center. Well, on June the 9th, in 2 days, all of us here in Southern California will have a chance to witness another one of those once-in-a-generation athletes and talents. A fighter who transcends the sport of boxing. We know he can fight. We know he's undefeated. We know he's a big puncher. But he has that one thing which separated all these other athletes I just mentioned before from being a star to being a superstar. And that's something you can't teach, something you can't learn, and that is charisma. Charisma. And charisma will make him the face of the sport, together with his brother, Jermell Charlo. It's a pleasure for me now to introduce to you the undefeated world champion, Jermell Charlo.
Thank you, Richard, for all of the high praises and all of the different things. But me and my brother not on the pound for pound list. They got other guys on the pound for pound list. And I guess a lot of little critics say, we haven't fought nobody. We haven't done what some of the best has been in the game. So my race continues. I won't stop. I'm furious about the fact that they down you a little bit. They look like, you know, they look like they with you, but then they not with you, you know. So shout out to everybody that, you know, that's really rocking with the Charlos, that's been really rocking with the Charlos. Me and my brother been doing this for a long time, 10, 11 years in this game. Austin Charles been doing this for a long time as well, but like they said, the momentum carries you a long way. So Saturday, you know, I want everybody to get there early. Don't leave. I'm gonna bring excitement to the table. If you beat me, it's Lions only. We're gonna keep repping. We want everybody to understand what we rep this for. You know, we come from the trenches. We made it this far, so we're not gonna give up now. And I'm not gonna let nobody step in my way and take that. Yeah, you want to get a belt, this is the wrong belt to get right now. I'm holding it down for H-Town. Thank you.
They are without doubt the two kings of the featherweight division. They're the two kings in boxing here in Los Angeles. The question is, who will wear the crown come Saturday night? It's for bragging rights in Los Angeles, it's for bragging rights in the featherweight division, and it's for bragging rights in the sport of boxing. But these two guys are not about bragging. These two guys fight both for the same purpose, and that purpose is to better the life of their family, their children, and of their parents. They are family men, their fathers, their husbands, their sons, and their brothers. And I've been fortunate to follow their journey from their very first fight song to the time when they got married, to the time when they had children, and see them know how they have grown inside of the ring and outside of the ring, having both become multi-time world champions, multi-division world champions, and the kind of men they are outside of the ring is really refreshing. And I think all of us associated with the sport of boxing can be proud of that. I can really only say 5 words to both of you, because both of you, and you guys know that, have a very special place with me. And that is, may the best man win. I'd like to introduce to you now first Team Mares. I'd like to acknowledge his strength and conditioning coach, which I believe is today one of the best strength and conditioning coaches in the world, and that's Luis Garcia. I'd like to acknowledge as well Robert Garcia. Robert Garcia, the legendary trainer who quickly has become one of the best trainers in the world, training multiple world champions, of course, including his brother, Mikey Garcia. And it's really amazing when I go to the gym to see the bond Abner and Abner and Robert Garcia have developed between the two of them. It's a pleasure now for me to introduce to you a Mexican superstar, a 6-time world champion in 4 different weight classes. He's the WBA world champion and will challenge on Saturday night together with Leo for the WBC world title diamond belt as well. It's a pleasure for me now to ask Abner Mares up to the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, first of all, I want to thank every single one of you guys, the press. You guys have done a tremendous job covering this fight so far. It's not over yet until June 9th. I want to thank Al Heyman. I want to thank Showtime, Steven Espinosa. I want to thank Richard Schaefer, Ringstar. I want to thank everybody, my family, my team, as we mentioned, Luis Garcia, my conditioning coach, Robert Garcia, the whole team that's been behind me, my beautiful family. And what can I tell you guys? I mean, I could stand up here and tell you how I'm going to fight, what I'm going to do. You already guys seen the first fight, how good it was, how exciting it was. And imagine then, I fought really good and I gave you guys a hard fight. Imagine now that I got a lot to prove and a lot to leave on the line. So you could imagine what type of fight I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fight my heart out. I'm gonna win this fight. I'm gonna come out victorious because I believe in myself. I believe in my training. The work is done already, and there's not much to say other than let the best man win, and we're gonna give you guys a hell of a fight. One for the books, fight of the year, guaranteed. Thank you so much. Do not miss the June 9 Showtime. It's a hell of a fight. I want to thank the undercard that could easily have been the main event. Believe me, I don't fight for main event, co-main event. I don't care as long as we give the fans what they want to see. Jermell Trout is going to be a hell of a fight. Me as a fan, I'm going to be in my dressing room watching. Great fight, and come support, come join June 9. Boxing is back. Boxing has never been dead. Boxing is alive, and we're going to bring it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abner. Now to Team Santa Cruz. Great family behind Leo. I see his wife there, the baby. I see Abner's wife there as well with the kids. And as I said before, this is what this is. It's really a family affair, and they know they're fighting for their families. And Leo is, without any question, a gentleman inside the ring and outside of the ring. But before I'm going to ask Leo to come up, I'd just like to acknowledge somebody else who is really maybe the biggest champion from all the champions we have in this room, and I say that in all due respect. And that's a man who beat the most dangerous and difficult of opponents, and that is cancer. And that is, of course, Leo's father, Jose Santa Cruz. When I saw him at the open workout with a big smile on his face and say that he KO'd cancer, it put a big smile on my face as well. And I know how important that is for Leo for this particular fight here on Saturday night, to have peace of mind that his father is doing better. His doctor is here, who confirmed to me before that he is indeed doing much better. And I'm just saying, Jose, keep up the fight. We are proud to be in your corner. It's now an honor for me to introduce to you another legend from Mexico, another fighter who really is breaking box records whenever he enters the ring. A fighter who knows how to entertain, who keeps on going forward, who keeps throwing punches in bunches, and he is no other than the one fighter which I think everybody can relate to, even non-boxing fans. He is the one and only WBA featherweight super champion and a 6-time world champion, multi-division world champion, Leo El Terremoto Santa Cruz.
First of all, thank you guys for being here. I want to thank my manager, Al Heyman. Thanks to him, I'm where I'm at right now. I want to thank Showtime, Stephen Espinosa, Richard. I want to thank the Watsons, the dad and the brothers. I want to thank, my whole team, my brother, he's been helping me in my training camp, my dad, and all my teammates. My teammates, Ivan Reycash, Joey, Jerry, my cousin Antonio, Ivan, and they are really good, They motivate me. They motivate me every day when I go to the gym, because they train with me, they go run with me, and we all work hard because we all have the same dream to become world champions, and we all motivate each other, and that's what I love about, going to the gym and seeing them train hard, and, they make me train harder in the gym. And I just want to say that you guys know that the first fight, you guys liked it. It was a really good fight, and this fight is going to be, I think, even better. Mares, he has Robert Garcia, he's a great trainer. And Mares is a great fighter, and I like to fight the best. And I know it's going to be a great fight, hard fight, because Mares is at his best right now, and he's fighting for his family, and he's doing it to give the fans great fights like I do. So I want to say that I'm ready. I'm really motivated. Right now I'm at my best too. I have learned a lot from my last fights, and the main thing I care more and I worry about is to give the fans a great fight. I don't come here and worrying about, if I lose or nothing. I come here worrying about giving the fans a boring fight. I don't want to leave and say that the fans say, it was a boring fight. I didn't like how Leo fought. He didn't do good this time. I want to come here and give the fans a great fight like I always do. That's the thing I worry about. And every time I come in my fight, I pray and I ask God that no matter who the winner is, that if he's better than me that night, let him win, let him win. But I don't want to come here and lose because my body didn't feel good or because I wasn't strong. I really want to come out here and do what I work in the gym. And like Abner said, may the better guy win. At the end of the day, God has a plan for us, and whatever it is, I have to respect it. And I just want to give the fans a great fight and make them happy. So thank you all guys, and thank you for the support. Thank you.
Thank you, Leo. I'm going to ask Brian Coster now to come up, and he's going to be doing a Q&A with the fighters, and after that we're going to pose to fighters. Brian.
Thank you, Richard. Ringstar Promotions has certainly established itself as one of the preeminent promoters in the sport. So congratulations to you, Richard, and Bruce. I think he was here as well. And what a night Saturday is going to be on Showtime Championship Boxing. Last time we were here 6 years ago here at the Staples Center. And on that card, Leo Santa Cruz and Abner Mares. Both of these guys were on that card that night. So it's great to have both of these guys back here at the Staples Center in the main event. And obviously in the City of Angels, they're fighting to be the king of LA. So it's going to be a magnificent night. But we will begin the night with 2 championship fights. And we'll start 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 o'clock Pacific. And we begin at 154 pounds. As Jermell Charlo puts his WBC title on the line against Austin, no doubt, Trout. And Jermell, let me start with you. You've stopped your last 4 opponents. Will Austin Trout be the 5th person you've stopped in a row?
Possibly. If he want to be. I'm going to get in there and I'm going to fight. Me and Derek, we got the game plan. We did this before. We've been here before. Experience don't matter. Austin is 0-0, I'm 0-0. But I'm really aligned in there. I really do what I got to do, man. He definitely has a chance to be number 5th. And it's going. Anything can happen.
Your brother fought Austin Trout 2 years ago. That one went the distance. And listen, he gave a great performance, Austin Trout did. Gave your brother some issues in that fight. Tell us why we won't see that again.
I don't necessarily believe he gave my brother issues. My brother, that's the type of fighter my brother is. And my brother came out with a victory, and it was a UD. So I look to do what my brother did, but do it way better. If that's with a knockout, if that's with boxing, if that's with just picking them apart, coming forward, they got these coaches, that rock with a whole bunch of people that hate on the Charlos. So I got a whole lot more that I'm fighting for. It's not just Austin Trout. We right now are not the people that they look at as the ones that are really domaining and running the sport. And so keep hating and keep doing what y'all doing and keep your little other fighters hating and doing all of that while we keep shining. So right now, it don't matter. None of that matters. We're going to get in there and do what we got to do.
Austin, you were quoted as saying that this is a career-defining fight for you. I think a number of people, and you heard Richard make mention to it, thought that career-defining fight happened, 6 years ago when you beat Miguel Cotto in Madison Square Garden, New York City. Why do you believe that this fight Saturday night is so big for your career?
As great as that win was against Miguel Cotto, I don't feel like it compares to this fight here. After I beat Cotto, I heard a lot of complaints about Cotto, saying he's out of shape, he's washed up, he was over the hill. A lot of excuses that kind of took away from the win. And after beating Jermell, there's no excuse that you can make up. This kid's in his prime. He's been knocking people out. I mean, he's a world champion, undefeated. There's really nothing else that you can say as far as excuse after I beat Jermell, so this will be a career-defining win for me. Bigger than Cotto, for sure. Although, after I beat Cotto, he went on to win a middleweight title. I mean, so I would just love to hear what kind of excuses that they can make up after I beat a fighter like Jermell Charlo.
You heard Jermell talking about he and his brother certainly want to take over the sport of boxing. You're also quoted as saying Saturday is all about stopping the Charlo show. What does that mean?
Well, the Charlo show that's been going on is you've seen the promotions. I don't even think I've been in this promotion at all. It's just been a Charlo show. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and go in there, sneak up on the media, sneak up on the fans, and stop that Charlo show.
Keep running your mouth.
Derek, fifth fight now with Jermell Charlo. You guys have won the title, a world title together. You've stopped every fighter you've faced thus far. What has been the difference with this young man since he's come under your tutelage?
Well, I think that shown a great level of maturity. He's become very aggressive, and he's very positive about what he wants to do, and that's what we'll see on Saturday.
Austin gave one of your best performances 2 years ago when you fought Jermell Charlo. You're back with Barry Hunter. Tell us why you will be even better on Saturday.
I learned from my mistakes when I fought the bigger, better brother. So I'm bigger and better myself this time.
Jermell?
Come back, Mark. Yeah.
You know, I got the opportunity to attend your training camp for this fight. And I thought it was interesting, there were some shirts that you guys had made up and they said, Spence Charlo, unifying the divisions in 2018. Do you believe the unified champ Jarrett Hurd will be watching this fight? And do you think that he will be looking at this fight to determine whether or not the winner, and specifically you, because you've talked about him a lot, gets that shot?
Well, listen, I got awesome Trout to deal with. You know, I'm definitely not focused on Jerry Hurd right now. He over there talking about Kell Brooks and all over the country. So it's definitely important. LA is a nice city. Hopefully he does come out to LA and come out and hang out and come watch me fight. He's been there ringside several of my fights. Glance over and look at him and just walk right to the locker room. You know what time it is. Al Heyman know what time it is. Ringstar know what time it is. Everybody that want to promote this fight, he's gonna look. I won't stop training. Even after this fight, I'm going right back into training. And we're gonna do what we gotta do. Right now, my focus is handling this guy and getting this over with. It was a long training camp, and it was in the trenches. Thank you for coming out there. We did what we gotta do. Earl Spence goes next week. We both in this thing this year trying to unify, get the belt, get all the belts to become undisputed next year. So that's how it goes. And I'm gonna keep working for it.
Lastly, we'll wrap it up with this. What should we expect Saturday night?
That lion roar. I got so much built in me. I got so much built up in me that I want to just release and let go, and hopefully you can handle it.
Austin, what should we expect Saturday night? There's been some talk of maybe Jermell overlooking you. What should we expect Saturday night?
It's a great awakening. I don't think he's overlooking me. I think his brother told him right away, don't sleep on Trout. I think it's y'all that's overlooking me. But it's going to be a great awakening.
That will be the first fight that starts the evening, 10 p.m. Eastern, that's 7 o'clock Pacific time. And then we get to the main event. The rematch, 3 years in the making. In the featherweight division, a division that is definitely filled with some talented, it's deep, and now you have Leo Santa Cruz and Abner Mares. Leo, you say you're a much better fighter since you two met nearly 3 years ago. Do you believe Abner is a much better fighter who you faced 3 years ago?
Yeah, of course. I think Mares has been a better fighter out there. He has Raul Garcia. Raul Garcia is a great trainer. He's really smart. That's why he's one of the best because he knows how to send his fighters to fight, and he has made him improve and Mares a lot. So I know he's gonna come out his best, but like I said, I have learned a lot too, and I have learned with both Brandon fights, and my dad's a smart man too. My dad knows how to send him to fight each fight, and we're gonna do a great fight.
You know, the featherweight division is one of those divisions in boxing that we have certainly put the spotlight on here at Showtime Championship Boxing. Just last month, we had the WBC champion Gary Russell Jr. in action, taking on JoJo Diaz, who was unbeaten at the time. You know, after the fight, Russell, who won by unanimous decision, said, "I want the winner of Leo Santa Cruz, Abner Mares." He says specifically Leo Santa Cruz because we fought in the amateurs together. JoJo Diaz said, without question, Gary Russell Jr. is the best featherweight in the world right now. In your opinion, where does the winner of this fight Saturday night rank in the featherweight division?
I think that the winner of this fight, will, in my opinion, I don't like to say it or stuff, but I think the winner of us will be the number one, because we were fighters that, I think Russell is a great fighter and everything. Like I said, we fought in amateurs. I want to get that rematch. I didn't get in the amateurs, but I could get in the pros. And, because we Mexican fighters, we could go out there and, we put pressure on them, And Gary Russell, I think he's those fighters that when you put pressure on him, he don't like that. You work the body, you saw again. Joseph Diaz started working the body. He hurt him, and you could see the Gary Russell power and speed went down. But then Joseph didn't continue to do that. So Gary Russell came back, and I'm not gonna let that happen. In the first round, I'm gonna be on top of him. Breaking the body, throwing a lot of punches, and timing beats speed. And I think if we're the winner of us, we could go out there and be in the first defeat. Second defeat. Yeah.
Abner, ask Leo this question I asked you. Are you a better fighter since the first time you two met? And if so, in what ways?
Testing. Man, I can sit here and just listen to Jermell and Trout, man. I'm excited about that fight. My fight is going to be exciting. You guys already know. Am I a different fighter? You're talking about 3 years ago when we first fought. He's fought Frampton since then twice. So that tells you already that he's matured so much as an athlete. He's progressed. He's become a better fighter without no doubt. I'm aware of that. My team is. And myself, just go back and look at my last two performances with Robert Garcia. I think that speaks for itself. Ain't much to say. We both have evolved to seasoned better fighters. And if you got a good fight 3 years ago, imagine now.
And where do you think the winner of this fight ranks in the featherweight division?
There's no doubt with the winner of this fight, number one. Who else? You got Frampton. Frampton, Lee already beat. You know what I'm saying? Gary Russell probably won't fight till 2 years from now. Who else you got there? Oscar Valdez. Oscar hasn't really. He's a tough guy. He's the future. I always say he's the future, but we're the present. He's still learning. That'll be a good fight down the line. But the winner of this fight is number one.
Abner, since connecting with Robert Garcia, according to CompuBox, statistically, you have landed more power shots than you had before. So do you think, now with Robert Garcia, the game plan, your newfound accuracy and power, do you have the right combination to be the first person that can stop Leo Santa Cruz?
Honestly, that's not our focus, that's not our plan. We're not going in there. See, that was my mistake the first fight. I went in there trying to destroy him, trying to knock him out. As you saw, I started throwing wild punches. So, no, that's not the key. The key is to follow instructions, perfect game plan, be the better fighter in there. And yes, I have learned a lot with Coach, as you mentioned, power punches. Just overall, so much. I have evolved, to a better fighter, and that's it.
Antonio, obviously your father is not here, but you're right there training Leo all the time.
He actually just arrived, his father. He's right there.
Yeah. There he is. Welcome. Not bad. Antonio, you're always with him in the trenches. You know the game plan. He was smart in that first fight. Used his length. He boxed. He went to the body at times. How does he be better? How can he be better the second time around?
I'm not talking Spanish. Because I'm not that good in English.
He's going to do in Spanish.
Yeah. Pues yo digo que no me preocupa mucho, pero como yo miré unos videos de Roberto García y dice Roberto García que no le vamos a ganar, que no le vamos a ganar a Mares.
That's what I have said before, you know, if I come out victorious Saturday night, hopefully God, I want to unify it, you know. I have also said that if this fight is also as good and close as the first one, and it's really even, and they want to make it a third fight, the fans want it, we could make it a third fight, but if not, unified, if the unification can happen, I want to move up in weight to 130 and look for my 4th division world title.
Listen, I got something to say. If I beat him Saturday night, when I beat him, I'm not gonna have him wait 3 years like he had me wait 3 years. I'll fight him this year again in December.
I love it.
Again. Trilogy.
Right back here.
Yo. Check. Oh no, I'm good with the big lens. I'm good with the big lens.
Good on you?